Fellas, let's talk about the whole tow feeling. How does this vehicle feel versus my Rams? Or if you're new to the channel, I've been a Ram guy over and over until 2020 hit and gave me a good punch in the groin. Let's just leave it at that. 4 engines down. I did end up selling one truck just because I got a good deal on it. So that should tell you something. It's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So here we are, we're rocking a Ford, right? So millions of miles in a Ram, and now we're in a Ford. What's the big deal? It's kind of weird, guys. And here's the weird thing. I did not anticipate, I did not expect to feel it this way. But I have a 32-footer back there. I want to sell that truck or trailer. It's been parked for a minute, so I took it for a test drive. Make sure everything's good and square about it. I ain't jumping all over there. I ain't tracking weird, right? And the truck feels more not stressed. It has nothing to do with the powertrain. It's just the way the suspension handles the weight. And there's not a whole lot of weight on it, right? It's an empty trailer. The trailer itself is, what, about 6,000 pounds, give or take, but that's not my point. My point is the suspension feels strained, if you called it. There's a lot of, you could feel the vibrations. There's a lot of things you can feel going through the frame. I don't even know how to explain it, which really caught me off guard because driving the Ford empty versus the Ram, the Ford handled just takes the edge on the Ram when it's empty, right? It just kind of softens the big potholes and the big blows. And here we are feeling stressed out with a little dinky trailer. That just doesn't add up to me, in all honesty, you know? It just doesn't make sense. So with that being said, I don't know what to tell you. It's an oddballer. Now, as far as the transmission handles it, I always had zero complaints about the icing handling it when the vehicle is loaded. You know, the icing could shift a little quicker and possibly short shift in certain situations, but I'm not complaining. Now, this thing has the ability to adapt on such a wide range, it blows my mind. It really blows my mind, the ability that this thing has. Icing had minimum speed, and then based off, once that minimum speed surpassed based on your throttle position, then it'll shift, right? This thing, it does as it pleases. Even though you're in tow haul mode, it will acknowledge tow haul mode, but it almost, you could definitely feel the more aggressive downshifts when you're trying to apply the brakes, but it's tough to say overall which one's better. I almost favor the icing when it's loaded because it is so limited in its own way. It's very predictable the way it's going to handle it. This thing, if it feels pushed, it will stop more aggressively. It does all the thinking for you, which isn't bad per se, but I like to be in control of my vehicle. I want to know exactly what this vehicle is going to do when I'm coming to a stop, right? It's like the exhaust brake. When it's manually on, this thing has a mind of its own, right? And icing would be banging gears right now and slowing you down, right? This thing, well, it feels a little downhill, so it'll give you 30% exhaust brake. You see how it's climbing? It typically doesn't climb like that. Right now, we got another downhill. I bet you it's going to try to brake even harder. Or not. See, this is what I'm talking about. Icing would be dropping gears right now just because I'm applying the brakes. So it's more sophisticated, but it's almost falls in the category of it's too smart for its own good. It's kind of hard to say that. You old school truckers know what I mean. You want to know exactly what your vehicle is going to do, how it's going to handle it. So to wrap this video up, I just wanted to make this quick video just for you guys out there, you know, thinking like, how's it going to do this? How's it going to do that? Ford's unpredictable. You have a ballpark, but it's never the same thing over and over. So for those guys that rarely tow, it's a good thing. You know, the computer does all the thinking for you, but you can never turn on that exhaust brake and expect it to work like clockwork every single time. It just doesn't do it. It has a mind of its own. Anyways, fellas, as always, may the Lord bless you, May y'all mighty fine day, and I'll keep you posted how she does. Meanwhile, I gotta go out there and take a couple pictures of that gooseneck on my truck. Anyways, ciao, bye.